Welcome back to another week of Xpansion podcast, where we download this week content and bring it to you. I am your host, GoopMasterFlex, followed by one of my co-hosts, Chris, aka May25th. If you want to introduce yourself, go ahead.
How y'all doing, people? We are officially here. Sounds a person, but we still gonna bring y'all the content anyways. Talk about this game. We don't need everybody. Shit.
Yeah, man. Chris kind of broke the ice a little too much, so Denzel kind of had to take the break this week, but it's okay. We still got to deliver the gaming news. Like gaming week, but before we get on to the topics, of course, we got to find out what we playing this week, right? Let the viewers know.
Every time. Shit, what am I playing this week? It's been a light gaming week for me, I'd say. I've been catching up on a lot of TV and anime, which is kind of different. It's been a while since I've been able to do that. But gaming-wise, obviously Destiny. If y'all haven't watched the show before, I always say that. A little bit of Outriders. And then I kind of have gotten back into Fallout 76 a little bit. Because another thing is, if you're new to the channel or you're new to the pod, I've been talking about it for a while, how I gotta finish the game so I can start doing these roleplay servers and stuff. So I'm back in that. I spent a couple hours on that the other day, so I'm just trying to progress and get stronger. Nice. And then yeah, that's about it. Aside from that, a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but that's not really video gaming, but
Hey man, they have a Yu-Gi-Oh game in the Xbox store,
Yeah, I know. Silver City told me about that.
Yeah. I know he always wants me to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and I hate playing Yu-Gi-Oh with him because his deck is broken and my deck is trash and I don't play the game enough to build it. But that's dope, yeah. Me personally, it's been a light gaming week as well, but I try to play a little bit more of the Outriders because of course gotta let you guys know how I feel about the game. But still haven't got really far about it. As well as actually been taking a dive on Oddworld Soulstorm that recently just came out on not Game Pass, PlayStation Plus on, I think it was the 6th of this month. So I mean, I only played the first 2 levels. The game is, it's not bad for a platformer. We already know the first one that came out obviously received a lot of great reviews and everything like that. So I just wanted to check out Soulstorm since it's free in the store, and yeah, it's not bad. I been enjoying it so far. As
is
well,
that the PlayStation's version of Ori? Is that their?
I mean, I guess you could say that because it's a PlayStation exclusive for now. I think it's gonna come later to count on the Xbox later, because I think the first one on PS4 was timed exclusive for a year or so, and then they brought it to the PlayStation store, not PlayStation, the Xbox Marketplace. But yeah, this one's so far exclusive to PlayStation, and hopefully we'll see the Xbox end. I've been hearing a lot of great things about the game, so like I said, I definitely have to try it out. Also been playing Warzone, streamed that yesterday, and NBA 2K a little bit. Whooped Isaiah on with with the Celtics and Nuggets. But the first game was bad that we didn't catch on stream. But yeah, so I would say that's it for this week for what I have been playing. But of course, what I'm saying, even though we don't have the black guys here, we still gotta continue with our icebreaker. So Chris, I let you wind it up, baby.
Woo. Oh man, you know what I'm happy about? The fact that the lighting and stuff is working a little bit better, so it didn't get all blurry when I did the. Oh man, all right, hey, sorry. Birdman hands, need to have them always. You do the ding and then you pull out the Birdman hands. So for the icebreaker this week, amongst us two, we've been talking a lot about adaptations. A lot of movies becoming. A lot of video games becoming movies and so on and so forth. So I thought it would be cool this week to kind of reverse it, because we don't really see it too much in the reverse. For the most part, it always seems like movies are the end game, right? You get other sources of media and they become movies, books, and video games, and all this other stuff. But it's not that often that you see a movie come out and then a really good video game based on the movie follows it. From what I noticed, it's normally a lot of like the movies that are usually marketed towards children. So like superhero movies usually always have a video game. Like I'm pretty sure there was an Iron Man video game that came out. Do you know about it? Probably not. It probably was trash. Like most of them are not good, you know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what's a movie that you think could work good as a video game that hasn't like been adapted in that way before yet?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good movies out, of course. I haven't really watched movies as much lately, but I was thinking, and this is gonna be my pick, and like I know, you're gonna say Jurassic Park already has its own video game adaptations and everything like that, but like, imagine a Jurassic Park like modern day like adaptation of like a horror game, like Dino Crisis back then, like that, that
Yeah.
Resident Evil with dinosaurs basically. Like I feel like if Jurassic Park could somehow like make that into a video game where it's just like you're trapped into the world and like you have to escape and you gotta do all these puzzles and you gotta defend off from all these dinosaurs and everything like that. These raptors chasing you and everything like that. So I feel like if they could somehow like implement that into like an adaptation of just like that kind of horror game where like you gotta do puzzles and all that kind of stuff, I feel like it would be like a dope game to like play nowadays, because
Yeah.
obviously we have Resident Evil being Resident Evil, but zombies can get old, of course. Like zombies, I feel like it's just everything, but I feel like we don't get that much for like dinosaurs, and I feel like if they can just obviously pull it off, I mean, it could be an amazing game.
No, I hear that. I definitely hear that. You made my answer sound whack.
Yo, my
Yeah, I
bad.
didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it. Um, so I don't even know if you've ever seen this movie before, but it's this movie called Crash from like 10, 15 years ago. I want to say maybe. It's got some age on it. If you haven't seen the
Nah.
movie, Goop, I don't know what's wrong with you. You need to start watching some movies. Watch Crash. Crash is good because it's one of those movies that's like it's about social, like a society, and they touch on racism and prejudice and all that kind of stuff. But the movie follows several different characters from different backgrounds, and all their lives are kind of intertwining with one another,
Hmm.
and they don't really know it. But everything that happens is kind of like a domino effect with the other person. So like it's just wild when you get to the ending of the movie and you see like how everything kind of comes together. You're like, holy shit, that was bugged out. Um, I would love to see a Sims kind of game. All right, not The Sims, because The Sims is a good basis for like a game like where you just get to be a person and it's an RPG. But in my opinion, I kind of think The Sims is like there's a cap on it. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of like can't go past this level of silliness almost in a way, and it's hard to take the game serious in some respects. I wish there was a simulator game like that was really like, all right, I get in the game, and my character is going out into this world, and the world is living and breathing, and you go to
Hmm.
work and you do all these things, and things can happen that affect one character from the next. And then like, I don't know if this has ever been done in a video game before, but imagine if you started a character, right, and then you created another character, and then even though you're playing both of the characters separately, shit happens somehow in the story where both characters shit connects.
Mm.
I'm like, yo, that would be kind of dope, man. And it's not necessarily a shooter. It ain't really like a competitive game. It's more just like a simulator. It's a game where you go in to kind of like have a good time, and there's people of all types in there. There's social hubs, and there's like stuff to do, like missions and stuff like that. But it's really more about just like the experience of like, I go in this world, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but what happens can affect me and everything else. Like I think that's mad dope, and I wish like there'd be a game like that that would like imagine Grand Theft Auto took that same engine
Hmm.
and kind of like did something like, oh man, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
Also, like I get what you're trying to say. Like it's like The Sims where you create a character, you got your But then like it's like, are you talking about like it plays out like Grand Theft Auto where it's like an open world, you do these missions and stuff like that?
It's an open world and like you do your missions and all that stuff, but even within that, like the missions are not like the priority of the game. Like
Mm.
you know, like how with Grand Theft Auto, you can do your missions, but you can also spend hours just like doing adventure stuff, just like driving around and finding hidden things and starting trouble here and figuring out what this does and that does. I would make the game more based on that, so that way it's more of a thing where I'm just in this world with a bunch of other people who logged on, and I could do something and it could affect everything else. I guess it's like a sandbox that would be the ultimate place for people to do role playing stuff because
Yeah.
it's really not based on anything competitive. But man, that shit could be fire.
Yeah.
That
Like
shit
are you
would be
talking about
fire.
like an MMO type of thing where it's like you got everybody around type of thing, or is it just like
Yeah. It
yeah.
should be a lot of. You should have NPCs and shit like that too,
Mhm.
but definitely a lot of different people on a server just like walking around and doing shit.
Mhm.
And this person doing this one thing over here is going to affect everybody else in a way, or vice versa, or however you want to look at it. But then
Yeah.
that could be really kind of like dope.
It reminds me of like I remember I used to watch these like Arma videos where it's just like they modded and like you got like people trying to be like cops and robbers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
That's what I mean. Like you get a
yeah,
role, and then like everybody kind of functions in their role around it.
that would be so dope. Like yo, we need a game like that now.
I think that's what they tried to do with Fallout 76, because you know like how the game didn't launch with NPCs, and like
Hmm.
the other players were supposed to be the NPCs, but like I don't know, they just didn't do it in the right way. Because when I first heard about that game, I'm like, yo, that's dope. I could go get on. And if I just want to be a vendor and I just want to be a person who goes in the game and collects things and sells it to other players, I can do that. Obviously, you play Fallout 76, it doesn't really
Yeah.
play out like that, but like, I swear to God, I think that was their vision with that. I really think that's what they were trying
Hmm.
to do. But
Yeah, hopefully it'll probably be easier with this next generation hardware, being able to have that much people on the server so you can, be your vendor that you wanted to dream of. So
yeah, man, yeah, try to sell.
definitely. Well, so diving into this week's topics, I know we already mentioned a little bit of Resident Evil with Icebreaker answer, but so we got news that we have a Resident Evil showcase happening this week, of course. The Resident Evil showcase will be, you know, heading on April 15th. Let me see. It says 1800 Eastern. If only I knew military time like that. But at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so that's probably like 6 o'clock. And yeah, it looks like they're having another showcase. A lot of rumors that they're gonna show out another gameplay demo, just like how in the first showcase they had in January that they showed the little maiden demo that was like the little prequel to of what to expect with the story. So it's pretty exciting news for Resident Evil fans. Definitely, the game's less than a month away, and we already know that the other Resident Evil multiplayer game, Reverse, is actually in open beta right now at the moment. So
Hmm.
yeah, a lot to hope for is this Thursday at 6 p.m. And yeah, what do you think or expect of this, Chris?
So before I even talk about the showcase, I need somebody to let me know, is this open beta for Reverse only on PC or something? Because if it's on Xbox, I'm gonna grab it. I gotta show
Mm.
it some love because everybody's been talking shit. So like, I gotta at least try it so we can try to dispel some of the rumors.
Well, it looks like from this article I'm reading, it's just that it's only in PS4, which I don't understand. But like at
Not
the
even
same
PS5, only PS4.
yeah, so like it says enter open beta for PS4 players, but I'm guessing you
That's
obviously
mad
can still
weird.
play via backward compatibility on Xbox, not Xbox, on like PlayStation 5. So
Mm.
I mean, yeah, sadly, unless you have a PS4, PS5, you probably wouldn't be able to dive into it. But I mean, even so, I mean, you could just look up YouTube if they even allow Twitch streamers to be able to stream it. You could probably look that up for gameplays on YouTube. But what I'm
Mm.
hoping for is not like another flop like the January showcase. And what I mean by that is like I'm not saying it was a bad showcase in January, but it was just like too short for what they hyped
Mm.
it up to be. Because in the January showcase, it was only like 15 minutes. They showed a little bit of Resident Evil 5 gameplay. I'm not right 5. Resident Evil Village gameplay with what is it called? Like just like a little gameplay trailer, and then the reverse trailer, which me and Black Ice was like, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that them hinting a little bit. But, you know, hopefully with this showcase, we see a little bit more. Like maybe we even discuss about a possible remake of Resident Evil 5, not 5, 4. Oh my goodness, I keep on getting my 4s and 5s and numbers mixed up. But yeah, hopefully we get like a, you know, a Resident Evil 4 remake, you know, some news upon that, or, you know, maybe that animated series that they've been talking about that's going to Netflix. So yeah, like I said, if you know, April 15th, you know, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard, 6 p.m. East Coast time. So if y'all, you know, obviously want to watch it, definitely even think about if I could even get home in time from work, I can probably even do like a little stream with Denzel possibly. But
I just hope they didn't overhype it though, because I think that kind of shoots some of these guys in the foot a little bit. Like, I don't know about you, but I always like it better when like they just announce that they're going to be saying something, but then they don't say nothing else besides that. I like it way better that way, because then I don't know, I guess my expectations aren't set that high, but when they hype it, and then it doesn't hit how it's supposed to hit, I guess it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Because I mean, the best example recently is what, Cyberpunk. No game had more hype than Cyberpunk coming out. That, Anthem, a couple other ones, and then when they don't hit, they don't hit. I just like it better when people just kind of keep it hush. So I'm just hoping that they don't overdo it, because I don't want them to burn this game out before it comes out. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let it do what it do, and don't overdo it. It's Resident Evil. I don't even think you have to hype it that much. It's Resident Evil, man. Like,
yeah, it's, you know, everybody knows about Resident Evil, and but you know, from what we've been hearing, it's not like Cyberpunk though, where it's just been delays after delays, and then next thing you know, it's like, all right, it's finally gonna come out, and then they delayed again. So, but you know, like I said, hopefully this event isn't as overhyped though as, you know, the last one, because the last event was kind of disappointing. But you know, that, like I said, you know, Resident Evil Showcase, definitely excited. And
how long was the last one for?
15 minutes.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, 15 minutes. I was at work watching on my phone. I'm out here like expecting like an hour or whatever, but it was only 15 minutes. Excuse me, hit my mic. But like, yeah, so we're just, you know, hopefully this showcase doesn't flop like last one, you know, like maybe a trailer from the new animated series, or even more, you know, info. Hopefully, you know, like I said earlier, Resident Evil 4 remake, that would be like honestly amazing. Even if it don't come out this year, like, you know, just something to like, you know, just tickle us. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, what do I say?
For the record, y'all, Goop is the one asking to be tickled. I'm too gangster for that. I will be getting tickled. All right, I don't do that. All right.
Hey,
so
man.
just so y'all know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, maybe we could find a way to tickle Chris with a Resident Evil devil.
Chill.
Yeah.
Chill.
But, yeah. Hopefully they do release a demo though for that. But
yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if I've ever seen multiple demos come out for a game before the game release. I can't recall ever seeing that. So I mean, they definitely put a lot of stock into this. Like I said, I just hope they don't overdo it before the game comes out.
I remember they did announce it though, that like the first demo was a PS5 exclusive, just to test out the engine and everything like that, and just a little, you know, like a little prequel story. But I believe they did confirm there will be a second demo. That'll probably, like, you know, showcase a little bit more of the gameplay, because the first one was just more of like a technical aspect, I believe. But
and this one was like combat and all that stuff, I guess, is in the second one.
Yeah, I believe so. And so yeah, you know, high hopes for the game. But you know, that ain't the only event that we have, you know, talk about this week. But we also got a little news on E3. You know what I'm saying? After a little disappointment last year of it being canceled due to the COVID pandemic, you know, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, we finally got some names of who will be there. You know, when it will be. You know, what to expect, and even, you know, I was reading the article too. They're even talking about trying to do like a public event in 2022, which is, you know, a little crazy to think about. But I mean, with the COVID vaccines passing around and everything like that, I could definitely see it being something possible, or it has like maybe not too much of a crowd like usual, but just a little light numbers. But yeah, with E3 coming out this year, we got you know the companies that are being featured is Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take Two Interactive, Warner Bros. Games, and I'm guessing that's pronounced Koch Media.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Koch Media.
yeah, I
Weird.
mean, like a solid lineup, I would say. For, what to expect from a regular E3 showcase. Um, interesting enough, I was looking at this. I feel like there was a couple missing that is usually there. Like who do you think is missing that you usually?
Oh, sheesh, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, the number one studio I kind of really wish had something up their sleeve for this year, honestly, was Rockstar. I
Mm-hmm.
really, really wanted to see something from them. I know everybody and their mama's waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6, and I get it. I personally still don't expect that game to come out for at least another 2 years, maybe three.
Yeah.
So I'm not really expecting them to give us anything like that, but it's just something. I feel like Rockstar is such a big studio. It kind of pisses me off sometimes, like how quiet they are in between games. I don't know. I wish they were a little bit more vocal with some of that stuff because they make people wait for a long time to get even a little bit of news, and it would just be really cool to see them 1 year just to kind of be like, nah, we coming out guns blazing. You know what I mean? We're not gonna do this quiet stuff. This is what we're doing because they're never like that. They're
Mm-hmm.
never like that. Um, which I guess is a good thing too, because if you again we were just talking about it. If you don't overhype something, then it doesn't like put bad expectations in people's mouths. But still, though, it'd be feeling like that we'd be starving for any kind of Rockstar news. Like I would be happy even if they had something set up to say, "Oh, we got a Bully remaster," or we got this we've been working on." Because I'd also like to see a new IP from them eventually at some point too. Like they can't just keep on resting on, uh, Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto for the rest of their lives. They got to come up with something new eventually too. So I don't know. I just wish it was them saying something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess I wish like some of the sports people were there too. So like EA or 2K or something like that would be nice to see. But
Yeah.
yeah, Rockstar is my number one pick for sure.
Yeah, we know like EA and Sony as well. Like they've been like out of E3 for the last couple of years too, which will probably like fall in line with the whole summer games or the Summer Games Festival, I believe,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
they do their
happening
own
as
thing.
well. But one company that was actually surprised to see not there or like one of the lists was Bethesda. Like usually they have their own big showcase every year, and
Mhm.
I understand it's probably gonna like somehow tie in with the Microsoft event, but yeah, I mean Bethesda usually has like this big showcase every year, showcasing every game they got to put out, or as well like future games. So, I'm kind of interested to see how they're gonna play that out with the Xbox event as well. Because Xbox event is usually like an hour long. So, and the same thing with
Yeah,
Bethesda. So I wonder if that it's gonna be like some big massive 2 hour event or something like that,
yeah,
which
man.
is like I said, it's crazy. They've been there for like I think like the last 5 6 years, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, definitely interested to see them not being there. And yeah, like I said
Yeah.
too, with the whole Summer Games event, I wonder how that's gonna fall in line as well, because we know E3 is usually like beginning of the month of June and how they have their thing. Like, I wonder if there's gonna be like a little beef with each other. Like, imagine if they had like Summer Games event the same week as E3, like trying to be like, oh, we're better than you. So but
Yeah, no, I feel you. I definitely think I agree with the whole Bethesda being involved in Microsoft's thing
mhm,
now. I can't see why Microsoft would want them to be at E3 showcase when they could save whatever they got for their own thing. Because I don't know, it just feels like I think more and more as we move forward that E3, although like you'll have presence from Microsoft and all them people there, it's more to me coming off like the third party showcase. So
mhm,
like the studios that are still making games for both consoles, the studios that are indie, the studios that are not tied down to any kind of loyalty or anything like that. I feel like this is starting to become their place to shine because
mhm,
it's becoming a thing where Microsoft is just showing their own stuff on their own platform, and same thing with Sony, and some of the other stuff like EA and stuff pull out from these events too and just kind of do their own thing. I think Ubisoft did their own thing last year digitally and a couple other different ones. And yeah, it's just that's kind of like where it seems like it's going. So now I don't know if it'll be a 2-hour Microsoft event. That seems like they're asking a lot from people to do 2-hour event, but it's gonna be jam packed. I feel because like we ain't got no Bethesda news in like a long time, but I kind of feel like they gotta have to drop something, especially for Elder Scrolls. Let us know something. I think Microsoft this year has started off crazy for them. I don't know if they're gonna be like taking their foot off the gas pedal anytime soon. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think that whatever Bethesda related showcase we're gonna be getting will be tied into their event. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Like why would you not do that? But still, even within that, it's still kind of like nice to see that E3 is moving along, especially if we can get it back for next year. That'd be, oh man, that'd be redemption right there. Because I still have night chills, because we didn't get to go. That shit hurt you, boy. But if we can go next year, I'm making that happen. I'm making it happen. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely hurt all of us in the DLC crew. We had this big old plane trip and, everything got canceled because of this one-time pandemic that happened to happen the year we're supposed to go. But, it's whatever. If they do bring it back for 2022, I definitely would be looking to, hopefully trying to get into it, especially with the vaccine and everything like that passing around. So definitely willing to take my chances.
So here's a question I got for you, though, because it says something about they're trying to make it more like inclusive, right? So like, what did you take from that statement? Because I didn't know if that meant a situation where they're trying to make it more inclusive to like developers and stuff to be able to showcase their stuff easier, or if that meant that because it's digital, they're going to be trying to figure out a way to get more of us fans involved in what's going on. Like, what do you think that like means when they say that?
Yeah, I know. I could see what you mean. It's like it could be like one of those situations where it's like, yeah, we, back then E3, everybody used to be able to get their hands on the game, and even now with the showcase being virtual, it's like we really can't be able to like get our hands in the games like we used to before. Going to these events, so it could be something where it's like, maybe like these developers or these other media people just like get their little passes and like play the game online like in a streaming thing, or I remember I mentioned this before, but it's like even if they like somehow include or somehow make a exclusive pass where you could be able to buy and be like, okay, like here's your pass, you just need you to log into this thing at this day and this time and you could just be able to play these games early. So that's what I kind of take from it. Like I said, it's kind of hard to like do it all because it's virtual and it's kind of like the first year. But even so, we just no matter what, I'm still excited. Even though, like I said, it won't be like the same as before, where it's kind of like different now. It's all virtual, like yeah, pretty much.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of Microsoft though, with the Xbox event and the E3, we actually got some pretty decent news this week. Starting off with even a Kojima game possibly coming into Xbox platform, which is very huge. Kojima made Death Stranding exclusively on the PlayStation, and I think that even went on to PC recently, or is about to, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe Jeff Grubb at VentureBeat reported that Microsoft is currently in discussions with Kojima to publish his next game, and that he elaborates that he's not sure if this deal has yet been signed, but that discussions are absolutely taking place. And we know this is huge because, first of all, I know we were talking about before the show how Microsoft doesn't have that Japanese game studio like Sony does. So I mean, just even like, I know it's probably not going to be like, all right, Microsoft's going to buy Kojima. It's not going to be like that, probably. It's probably going to just be more like, like a nice little exclusive, maybe a timed exclusive, if anything. But, they've been talking about it, possibly even like some like survivor horror game, which would be crazy. Because, we haven't really had like that survival horror. I mean, we had like the Medium recently, but that wasn't more of like a AAA. That was, I would say, more like maybe like a AA type of exclusive game. But if we get like a AAA horror game from Kojima, we know that he was working on the Silent Hills game before. You know, so like it's definitely a possibility, and I definitely would love to see that. I mean, what do you think about it, Chris?
I think, man, it's pretty big, man, because again, like you stated, like the Japanese market has been very hard for Microsoft to kind of like dig into. They've got a pretty good footing in the US, but Sony's been king over there since ever. So them even having these discussions now, it's crazy, man. Like I just said it, like they this year has started off crazy for Microsoft, and they just doesn't seem like they're kind of like taking their foot off the gas, man. Because like every couple weeks there's some new news coming out about how they got some new deal coming out, or they got some new big game in Game Pass, or this or that, and it's just wild that we just keep on getting all this news. And then, not to sound like a Sony hater or anything like that, but a lot of their news recently has not been the most positive. So it's crazy how they're doing things. But I'm gonna tell you this much, man. They pull this off, and if the game actually hits, it's a big win for Microsoft, bro. Big, because it just opens the door. And then, like, I had also read something recently too, and I don't know how much truthfulness there is to this. So if you're watching this and this shit ends up being cap, just understand I was just reading an article, and I don't have no valid shit to this. But I was also reading something else, and it was like a rumor saying that they might even be looking into like buying Square Enix, which is also like humongous. If they get their hands on them, again, that's another big time Japanese related entity, man. If they get their hands on Final Fantasies and all that stuff, all the stuff that used to be like exclusively for the Sony platform, all that stuff is coming over to Xbox. Is just it's crazy, man, to think about. So for that alone, I think it's big. For anybody who pays attention to how Phil Spencer kind of does his things. Now, again, this doesn't mean much because maybe he just at this point knows that we know, so now he's just fucking with us. Maybe, I don't know what he's doing, but generally, people have noticed that whenever some kind of deal is about to go down, when you see on his shelf in his videos whatever he's put up there, if you're paying attention, he usually kind of like puts a hint up there. Because like there was one from way back where he had a Xbox One S or Series S, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it was just sitting on this thing way before it was even a thing. And it was just, he always does this. So, long story short, Kojima's stuff is up on this thing now. And now people are like, oh man, this must really be a thing. So, I don't know if it's a game. I don't think he's buying Kojima. I don't think he's buying that. I don't think he's doing anything crazy like that. But it's just big in terms of just opening that door. It seems like Sony has had their hand on a lot of stuff that Microsoft just hasn't been able to kind of like do, and now, man, that's. I
mean, even the thought of just having it on Game Pass too, because like if it's an Xbox exclusive, it has to be on Game Pass. It has to be,
right?
Because we know Xbox has been on a roll with Game Pass titles such as Outriders that recently just came out a couple of weeks ago, or actually just a week ago. Recording this, but also even later this month, MLB The Show 21 coming Game Pass day one. It's like Microsoft, they just know what they're doing. They're pleasing their fans, getting these titles that before we were just like known as the console that just only plays third-party games or whatever, and now we're just like out here pushing these exclusives as well as getting these games and Game Pass that's not even on like a Microsoft like Microsoft Games List or whatever. Like, I mean, even the rumors of having Battlefield 6 coming to Game Pass day one is crazy because we already know Xbox, has their partnership with EA, with EA Play being on Game Pass add-on. Yeah. So, there's even been rumors that Battlefield 6 will be in Game Pass day one. And even rumors that they might even have a Battlefield event coming in early May, or not early May, but like the month of May, which would be more gaming news that we would love to see.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah, man. This is just so bugged to me. It's funny when you really look back at the timeline, right? Remember when Blockbusters was a thing, And I don't even know if you was around for this, but I know when I was little, I had to go to the store with my mom and beg her to rent a game from me. And then it came from that to the Red Box. And then like the Red Box took out Blockbusters and Hollywood Video completely. There is no more of them anymore. Redbox took over, and that was the deal. You go to the Redbox, you pick up a movie, and they got video games in there. Oh my god! And then like you think about this Game Pass bullshit, like man, the forward thinking, like that's why I have to give them their clap. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's like they laid groundwork years ago for this to be where it is now, man. And it's just like this year alone, and we're only in April. Dog, imagine if Halo actually hits later on this year, like how it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my god, like, dude, they have. Sorry, I'm gonna get a whole nother tangent. It's just crazy to sit back and think about like what they're doing with Game Pass and how much fast success they're having with this. This ain't no shit that's like taken a decade to get hot. Nah, it's what Game Pass has been around for what, like 2-3 years?
Yeah, like probably maybe 4 years max, but like
it's just now like getting its stride though. You know, it hasn't been even half a decade for us to be saying it's here, but it's kind of getting there. Nah, man, this ball's been rolling, bro. It's wild to think about. It's super wild. I give them all the credit in the world, and yeah, like you said, Battlefield 6, fam. What?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know, like, we were discussing on this in a Discord chat too, where it was just like, we know PlayStation owns like the exclusive rights to some things in Call of Duty, and with Call of Duty being big with Warzone and all that kind of stuff, and how like they've been successful with that. And I was just imagining having Battlefield 6 as like, you know, this big thing for Xbox. It's like, oh, when Battlefield 6 comes out, if you have Game Pass, you can just download the game and play right away. And without even dropping like 60, $70, which is like pretty much the standard for games nowadays. And it's crazy to think because like even with like MLB The Show, like we were talking about last week, is like PlayStation owners have to drop $70, while, you know, for us Game Pass users, like $70 is like half a year of like the Game Pass subscription. So like with just these two games alone, Outriders and MLB The Show, is like, all right, like we already saved 2 games, or pretty much paid a year subscription of Game Pass with these 2 games that we got. So like, you know, just adding another one and not even including the exclusives coming out. We know Halo's coming out later this year. Hopefully another Forza, and you know, whatever Bethesda has to, you know, shoot out at us for their exclusive title for Microsoft. And you know, it's just like they definitely been moving forward. But you know, on the other side though, Sony feels like sometimes they've just been, you know, moving backwards with these news we've been hearing lately. You know, with the first of MLB The Show being, you know, Game Pass day one, and it's like PlayStation users just complaining, even though they confirmed that it was MLB's, you know, decision in the process. But not only that, but you know, with even the latest news with the Last of Us remake, we got news that The Last of Us will be remade. You know, that Naughty Dog is taking care of it now, I believe. But you know, even they had like their own little dispute in between each other with the visual art studios being, you know, feel like that Sony didn't really care about them. They're being underpaid, and that they could even hire anybody to help them with it. And as well as like Days Gone 2 even being canceled, which is crazy to think about because like, you know, even though it wasn't like successful in their eyes in the sense where it was like they wanted, I think, like the goal of 8 million copies being sold. You know, it was still a solid game. You know, people loved it. They have their fan base, and you know, after the fan base heard about it being canceled, they definitely heard a lot of crap from that. But you know, it's just crazy to think about, like, you know, Sony one time being this, you know, innovative studio, creating all these new IPs and everything like that, and now I feel like they're just taking a step behind. What do you think about it?
So here's where I struggle, right? Days Gone, like you said, pretty decent game, beautiful looking game. Should have gotten a sequel, in my opinion, but it gets capped because it didn't sell 8 million copies. Okay. See, the thing about it is, like, I feel like there's no consistency when it comes to like how they handle that shit. Because how does that not get a sequel, but then Serious Sam, trash. This game is horrible, y'all. has been around since I think the early 2000s is when the first one came out. The game makes absolutely no sense. The enemies you play against absolutely make no sense. The game is not a good game, but yet they somehow are still getting sequels because I think the fourth one just came out recently. Maybe like at the very most a year or two ago, I want to say. So I'm just confused as to like how do games like this keep getting sequels? And I know these games didn't sell no 8 million copies. You're not gonna tell me Serious Sam sold 8 million copies. Yeah, a game that has some good legs doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how some of that stuff adds up. I see a lot of games get sequels and shit that probably shouldn't get them. Yeah, you're talking about this game doesn't deserve one because it didn't sell 8 million. I don't get that. With that being said, yeah, I agree. They take a lot of steps back, it seems, and it's just not good. This is more bad press for.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
Sony. This is crazy.
One thing I was confused about, I was like, out of all the games that Naughty Dog has, why would you remaster The Last of Us 1, which came out in 2014, when like, you know, there's like a lot of older games that probably could have been like remastered that people would love to play, like
Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Daxter.
People would love to get a remastered collection for that.
No, you got games like that. You got Jak and Daxter. Even on the Naughty Dog side, you could remaster the first, couple Uncharted because, those came out, 10 plus years ago. So I don't know why they even haven't took a crack at that. But, like you said, Jak and Daxter, the Sly Cooper franchise. I mean, there's a lot of games that definitely could be, touched upon before The Last of Us remake, which is like, it's weird because like I know the TV show is coming out soon. And the Uncharted movie's coming out, I believe. I think they hoped it for February 2022, but like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just feel like I don't know if this could be like a cash grab type of thing. It's like, oh, you want to watch the show? How about you check out the game too that just came out remastered on PlayStation 5 with the new haptic feedback and this, and you know what I'm saying? But it's weird because like. Like I mentioned earlier, it's like Sony's usually known for being innovative and, doing its new IPs like Horizon Zero Dawn, which they're making the Forbidden West sequel, and the God of War, which we're getting the Ragnarok sequel as well. But like, the fact that they shot down Days Gone, which, doesn't even have a chance to have its second game. And we know like games like Uncharted, where the first one was, first one was good, but like the second one was when really this franchise really shined out because I think that game won Game of the Year, and it was just like an incredible game for its time. It's definitely ahead of what it's done. And the fact that Days Gone 2 just not even getting a chance with this next gen hardware, which in my opinion is not fair for them, because now you just put them in a situation where it's like, okay, well, you're not getting a sequel, then what do we do? But yeah, I mean, and that's not, the only thing we heard about PlayStation that, hasn't been the greatest news, but we also, heard even Deathloop delayed again. It's September 14th. And, we know that game was set to actually come out on May 21st, but, this is definitely another big delay. There actually was originally supposed to come out with the next gen console release of the PlayStation 5 of, last holiday season, but I mean, the fact that, it's getting delayed again to September 14th is, and that's like another 4 months, which is, in my opinion, it's a little crazy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
it is. Like, I don't get mad at them for the delays with this stuff, though. I think, like, I'm more concerned with them not having a true answer for Game Pass, or not, having their value be what it needs to be for their customers. To me, that's where I'm more worried about with Sony, because I feel like the delays are on both sides of the fence. I mean, look how long Halo's been taking to come out, and that was also supposed to be a launch title. Like, it's just, man, this COVID shit, I'm going to kind of give people a pass in terms of the delays. Because, I mean, even when you really think about it, too, like, how many games probably should have been delayed more than a year before they came out? People are even saying that about Outriders, because Outriders is having some major technical issues here and there. People getting their whole character deleted with all their items and shit. That's a pretty major flaw in the game.
Definitely for a looter shooter, yeah.
And so like, I don't know, I kind of can't like hold that specifically against Sony. But if we're just looking at the grand picture of things, it is another negative thing amongst a bunch of other negative things. So yeah, no, it sucks, but everybody's kind of dealing with this. There's the delay on everything. Hell, there's even delays on the damn chips to make the cell phones. So like, I'm not gonna get mad at them for that. I think more devs should be doing this because a lot of devs I think just feel pressure to just crank a game out and then hit this deadline that they hit out. And again, I keep bringing up Biomutant because this is the best example. They weren't gonna put this game out until they were ready to put it out. And that's what I would like to see from more devs. I would be willing to give certain people more, a year, 2 years, whatever you need to make the game right, rather than you give me a game that's broken as fuck and it takes you maybe a year and a half to 2 years to even give us a couple patches, and then eventually just give up on the game because you can't fix it. Because that's what happens with a lot of games too. I don't want to see that. I would way rather the delays. So, it sucks. It does suck, but I think it's compounded to make it look worse just because all the other stuff that sucks.
Yeah, and it's funny, like you mentioned Cyberpunk. It's like Cyberpunk kind of set the standard of like releasing game nowadays, where it's just you don't want to set it to release the game where it's completely broken and unplayable. And I, like, I agree with what you say. Take your time, complete the game, and it is unfortunate that this game is being delayed, and for Xbox users because it's a year actually that this game will be a time exclusive for on PlayStation. So like now it's like for us Xbox users, we gotta wait a little longer to get the game on Xbox, which I guarantee you this game's gonna be on Game Pass day one when it reaches Xbox, especially since it's Arcane Studios, which is part of ZeniMax, that whole acquisition that we just had with Bethesda and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean. that's the only reason why I'm kind of upset, because I really do want to play this game, but I don't want to drop like $70 when I can get it on Game Pass. But yeah, and then even like you mentioned, the chip shortage too. Like, been hearing a lot about that too, where the Sony PlayStation consoles are hard to get nowadays because of the chip shortages. Thankfully I got my copy, but I mean, just very fortunate for Sony, hopefully with the next couple of weeks or even in the summertime with E3 rolling and they have their own press conference, hopefully we can get some positivity there or something. Game Pass, competitor or something.
It's funny though, like there's a lot of silence from, like, I think Sony touched on the whole thing with the MLB, the show coming over to Xbox. They kind of had to say something about that. But in general, this Xbox Game Pass momentum has been building for a few months now, I feel. And they haven't really spoken too much overtly about some of this stuff. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're kind of like, well, we've already kind of proven that we know how to make good-ass exclusive games. And we know that these next games that are coming out, like it's going to be, they would have to try to make God of War and Horizon suck. Like, if those games you'd have to deliberately try to make those games bad. So it almost feels like they're kind of like, well, I mean, it's nice and all that they're doing all this stuff, but until they come out with an ultra hitter exclusive, we ain't really got to worry about it. That's the kind of the attitude I kind of get from them. So it's funny, like, even though we give all this praise to Game Pass and all this stuff, and I'm loving what they're doing, there still feels like there's a level of what's the word I'm looking for? Cockiness, I guess you could say. I don't know, from over at Sony's side, because it's almost like y'all don't think that. Are y'all taking Xbox serious, or y'all just like, like, that's kind of what it feels like. Like, they're looking at it like, well, all right, well, they're making a little noise, but whatever. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. You would have thought that, not to say that Sony would be hitting a panic button, because I don't think it's that deep yet, but they would be looking at this shit and taking it a little bit more serious in certain areas. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with their next little announcement, see if it kind of gets anywhere. But it's very interesting to see. If you look back at this show later on when we rewatch it, look at how many times we mentioned, well, it's going to be on Game Pass. Oh, this is about to be on Game Pass. Like, dog, like dead ass look at the counter. And then you think about Godfall. Good example. Godfall came out for PlayStation 5. Exclusive. Day one console release. Bombed hard. Heavily. Now nobody's going to go out and spend $70 on this game, so they're going to have to price chop it down to like $30, maybe less, just to get folks to buy it. When shit could have kind of been on Game Pass, though.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And if it was on Game Pass, even if it did bomb, it's on Game Pass. Like, And I don't know. We need to like get paid by somebody for the amount of advert that we do for Game Pass.
Yeah,
It's such a good value, bro. Like the deal is a deal, and if you're not on it
mhm,
yet, you're like something wrong with you.
definitely.
That makes sense.
And I'm glad you mentioned Godfall because, like, it's we could compare Godfall to Outriders, whereas like they
Yeah,
were both
yeah.
iffy about the games. Godfall, obviously had its okay reviews, but it's not a game to pick up right away for $70. That game could wait. Whereas like Outriders, the game was kind of getting the same feedback where it's like it's all right. I would say wait on it until it's on sale, and the next thing you know, Microsoft announces that it's coming on Game Pass day one, and now we see how big it has been. A lot of great reviews saying that even though the game is cheesy, it's still fun to play, and if you have Game Pass, definitely recommend to get it on Xbox. So like,
Hmm.
we definitely see how the benefits of Game Pass, and how even though PlayStation doesn't have one, and it's like they got games like Godfall, where I think now it's actually like 50% off. I think on the PlayStation Store because
Hmm.
of like how bad it was when it first dropped. It's like PlayStation. I feel like that's why they fear about dropping new IPs because of like stuff like that, where where it could flop bad like Godfall, or it doesn't sell and they have to like basically sell it cheaper later on in the future. And that's probably what happened with Days Gone too. They probably just
Yeah.
they probably just had to just drop it because they felt like it wasn't going to be a hit like or sell it as much as they like. But
Yeah, man. It's
yeah.
crazy to think about how that works. How much longer do you think it is before like they just keep pushing people to the other ecosystem? Because like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, man. I don't care what nobody says. I think back in the PS4 era and the Xbox One era, the Sony loyalists were like still kind of firm. Like you still couldn't kind of shake them. You know what I mean? Like you tell them,
Mm-hmm.
"Yo, you need to come over here," and they still be like, but I'm still kind of, Nowadays, the most common thing I think I hear from PlayStation folks, a lot of them will admit, it kind of does make sense to kind of make the switch. But
Mm-hmm.
most of the ones that don't always kind of say, well, everybody I play with is over here. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the only reason why I don't want to switch yet. But if I could bring all my folks and stuff like that with me, I probably would. That tells me once crossplay is way more mainstream across video games, that I don't know, man. I don't want to say that they're gonna win the war because that might put them, I might jinx it, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to say after that. Like where there is no, aside from maybe the exclusive game argument, which really is kind of dying more and more every day, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally fighting the fact that this is a good value,
Yeah.
and at that point, I don't want to argue with you. You can die on that hill. You can do what you want to do. I don't care, bro. Like I know what the smart decision is. So
Yeah. Like,
uh,
fortunately all my boys on Xbox, so I don't have to worry about that
yeah,
aspect. But yeah, I mean, even so, if you're just like a solo player who doesn't have friends, I feel sorry for you if you don't. But if you're choosing between the Xbox or a PlayStation, value wise, Xbox is definitely the way to go. I mean, the consoles are the same price, basically, unless you get the digital edition of the PlayStation. But even so, it's like if you want to get a PlayStation exclusive game, you got to drop $70. Whereas Xbox, all the exclusives, Game Pass, a year is like around 150, 170, if I'm not mistaken, which is like around three AAA title games, which we already got. So like, you definitely
yeah,
see, where to go if you want to look for games, practically.
absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, well,
Hmm.
this will definitely wrap up this week's episode of the podcast. Before we go, of course, we Chris, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, as always, y'all, I'm on everything at MAY25THXX.
Or
On everything. Oh, yeah, don't try to cut me off
no,
before I
I was
tell you
gonna
the
say,
next album.
you can't
Hold
forget
on,
it. You can't
hold on.
forget. You can't
I was
forget.
gonna say, people, I'll be on Gmail. Pen pal you, boy. I don't care if you're in Korea. Pen pal you, boy. Don't be trying to like do no crazy stuff, but just pen pal me. That's it. All right.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, we'll get a pen pal sometime in these next couple of weeks. But Yeah, you could definitely find me on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, GoopMasterFlex on Twitch. Instagram and Twitter is GoopMasterFlex underscore TTV, and I think Twitter is actually just GoopMasterFlex underscore. Hit up my DMs if you guys want to say anything, got any suggestions, let me know. I'm definitely down to talk. On Xbox, GoopMasterFlex. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do. You know what I'm saying? We gotta build a community.
Yeah.
But you know,
Seems good.
other than that, thanks for watching, listening, and we'll see you guys next time.